Welcome to the intro. I'm Jess Huddleston. Today on the show, we have bedroom pop sensation Flowerface, whose gorgeous ballads are racking up millions of listeners worldwide. Here's Flowerface now performing Back to You. Hey, Ruby.
Hi.
That was stunning.
Oh, thank you so much.
You just mesmerized us.
Thank you.
I know your name's Ruby, but I'd love to talk about Flowerface and how that came to be. That is the cutest dang name ever.
I get a lot of comments, a lot of questions about that. It's actually a childhood nickname that my grandma gave me. So she would just call me Flowerface when I was a little kid, and it kind of stuck within my family because she said when I smiled, my face bloomed like a flower.
Oh my goodness. That's the sweetest thing I've ever heard. I don't have a cute nickname like that. But
well, it just stuck throughout my life. And then when I wanted to start making music, I was like, I need a stage name because I don't want to go by my regular name. So it just popped into my head right away.
It feels very Y2K too, the way flowers are coming back and sort of that 70s resurgence as well.
I've got the flower clips in my hair that are kind of 2000s,
on brand. So let's go back to the beginning. You know, you started making music quite literally in your bedroom. And I know you played classical music as well. You obviously play guitar. How and when was there that moment where you decided, okay, I'm actually going to pick up a pen and I'm going to write a song and I'm going to put these thoughts down on paper?
When I was 13 or 14, I got really into band camp. I was into Tumblr, and through Tumblr I found Bandcamp and found all these people who were just like uploading really lo-fi kind of songs that they were recording themselves to Bandcamp. I was like, I want to put out an album. I could do that. And my dad had a kind of small recording setup at home. He worked in radio. And so I just, used GarageBand, recorded like an album worth of songs in a week and just posted them on Bandcamp and like shared it on Tumblr. And I actually got some people who were into it. And so I ended up making CDs. And right off the bat, I was like mailing CDs to odd places, like
Wow.
kind of all over the world I didn't expect. So I just kind of kept doing that, like kept making music at home. And I always saw it as like a side project thing,
Right.
just something I was doing for fun. And then it got to a point where I was like, oh, I'm making a living doing this. This is like a career. This is something that I can actually pursue.
Totally.
I think I didn't hit that point until I was like maybe 18, but I'd already been at it for many years. So.
The fact that you had been entrepreneurial for a couple of years at 18, making music and selling your music and getting it out in the world is a lot more than I was doing at that age.
It was also DIY, like it was just all me. And so I'm kind of in this world of like having a manager and having a label and having like people on my team now who are working for me. And sometimes it's hard for me to realize like I don't still have to do everything. Like people at my label will be like, you don't have to make every banner yourself. Like we can do this. And I'm just like still so used to, so for so many years, I was just kind of doing all of it.
Let's stay in the beginning there. You said your dad worked in radio. I read that you used to go to a lot of shows growing up, which is very cool. And really the best introduction to the landscape is just physically getting out there.
Yeah.
And you described yourself as a tween fangirl.
Yeah.
We've all been there. We've all been there.
It was intense.
Who were you listening to?
My first favorite band was the White Stripes when I was a little kid.
Nice.
And then that was kind of like my parents' influence. They were really into it. And then like I grew up listening to a lot of like Tom Waits and Kate Bush and stuff like that because of my parents. And then when I started getting into music on my own, it was like what was on the radio station that my dad worked at, which was all kind of alt rock. Like Rise Against was my favorite band. And I was really into like 3 Days Grace and Breaking Benjamin and all these kind of like really like emo.
You've listed a bunch of bands. I don't know why I didn't expect you to list, but this is very interesting.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of like my origins. And I feel like it somewhat makes sense with my music now, like my lyrics.
There's an edge.
But my first concert that my dad took me to, I was 9 or 10, and we went to see Rise Against and Rancid in Detroit. And I was like
the coolest 9 or 10-year-old ever.
I was like this like, a little girl in like a camo hat and turquoise Crocs. And I had done like a drawing of the lead singer, and I got to meet the band because they were doing like a radio thing, and I like had them sign the picture and got a photo with them. It's so embarrassing now, but that was like I was having that experience so often because my dad was kind of getting me backstage tickets to these shows, and I was meeting all these bands, and that's just kind of what led me to being like, I want to do this. Like I want to be this person who's having someone come and meet them and who's able to provide that kind of experience to like, a 13-year-old girl who's like crying because she's so excited.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's really interesting that you touch on that role reversal, sort of where you are now. I think the young woman or the young girl fan is the purest thing on this earth. And one of my favorite interviews is from a few years back with Harry Styles. And an interviewer was asking him, what's it like to have primarily young girl or women as your fan base? And he was like, it's incredible. They're the future.
They're the tastemakers.
They're the tastemakers.
Teen
they move
girls,
things forward. So having been a tween fangirl to now having many fangirls who just love and explore and participate in your music, what's that feeling like?
It's amazing. It's really odd. It still doesn't feel quite real. And I think like I haven't toured really, and my fan base is super like international. Like my top cities on Spotify are like in Indonesia and Turkey and stuff. So it's like all over the place. So I haven't had the experience of like touring around and meeting all these people. It's mostly been online, which I think makes it feel a little less crazy and real.
Sure.
But I think that like once I start touring and start meeting people more, like even I played in Toronto recently and had someone come up and say like, this is my first concert ever. I drove from Ottawa to be here. And there was also a fan there who I recognized from Twitter, and she's kind of been there since the beginning. And so it's just really exciting. I think it's like kind of the beginning of me really venturing into the world of like meeting these people and understanding that they exist.
Wow.
And it's an odd feeling, but it's great. I want to try to be a really good, persona representation of my music. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So that they have something like a good person to connect to the music that they love.
It's special though. It's community building in that sense.
For sure.
When I tell you this next song stopped me in my tracks the first time I heard it. It is one of the more beautiful songs I've heard in recent
Oh,
years.
thank you.
It does, however, have a dark romance to it, absolutely. And so I've always wondered what the backstory is. And can you tell me about Cornflower Blue?
Cornflower Blue is kind of about being in really intense love and thinking like this is what real love is and other people just don't understand, and this like obsession and this constant panic and anxiety and worrying about the other person and wanting them to worry about you. Like the whole focus of the song is kind of like, what if I got hurt, what would you do? Like what if I threw myself in front of this train, what would you do? Because like I would care for you, I would still love you. And there's sort of a breakdown element where in the beginning it's kind of like this sweet love, like I want to do all these things with you and be with you, and then towards the end it just gets more and more unsustainable, and it's there's the line, the things that we don't talk about are waiting at the door, because you
Yes.
can't ever escape that, you know, it's all going to come up eventually. And so for the music video I really wanted to do a sort of dance interpretation of that. And so in the music video I have these two amazing dancers, and they start out, you know, very in love and kind of dancing through the kitchen together. And then when then the beat drops in the
Yes.
middle of the song, suddenly he's chasing her and she's trying to get away. And it's like, when does that turn happen? Like when you realize it, you know, it's kind of that
Very
like scary
symbolic.
moment. Yeah.
Such a powerful song came out of a creative, you know, moment of emptiness for you in a sense. And
Must have been brewing for a long time.
that's
there.
right. This was the product. And it is truly a beautiful song. So let's
Thank
hear it
you.
right now. Thank you.
I wanna lay on the kitchen floor with you. I wanna do all the things that lovers do. Bruised on your face like a watercolor bloom. Moonlight paints your skin cornflower blue. You love me till you wear me out, then you love me more. I'm blue to the middle, just like you, freezing to the core.
Oh my. Safe to say I'm not doing very well after that. That was so beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So we mentioned earlier that you signed with your first label, which is
Yes.
incredible, Network. That's
Network,
really
yeah.
fantastic.
Yes.
Having been such an independent artist, again, you kind of did touch on this, but being part of that family now and that structure, what's it like as you're entering that next chapter of your music? You're kind of closing a chapter by being part of
Yeah.
a label now.
It's a little scary, but it is something I've been considering for a long time. And I have had offers from like independent labels before that it just never seemed worth it to give up, the control and like the ownership, like licensing of my music. But Network came to me with, a really amazing offer and a really amazing team of people. And I had meetings with them before I ever saw a contract just to kind of get to know them. And I just felt really sort of understood by everyone there who I met and spoke to. Like they really got what I was doing and got that I wasn't trying to have like a, hit single on TikTok or something. They understood that like I'm a career artist and I have a vision and I am going to be spending my life completing that vision. And they are very much just supportive. And they also understand that like as much as, I do hand off certain things to their teams, I do still want to do a lot of things myself.
Yeah.
And they're very clear about the fact that they'll never step on any of my, creativity or my ideas.
That's so special.
Yeah, it was definitely like a necessity for signing with a label. I was like, I'm not letting anyone else make decisions about my music. I'm not going to have them telling me to change lyrics or anything like that. Like I wouldn't put up with that. So it was definitely a blessing, like having them reach out and meeting them. It just seemed right. So.
Yeah. And I think that's the key to authenticity. And whatever comes next for you can just be more supported and structured as you move forward, which is really cool too. It sounds like you have kind of a mixture here of process in your songwriting and then just a total free-for-all.
Yeah. I think sometimes the best comes out of the free-for-all, like Cornflower Blue or Spherical. Like those are two of my favorites. I think that when I like sit down and try to write, nothing good is going to happen. Like it has to just kind of happen on
Has
its
to
own.
flow.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's a very elusive thing to capture.
You got to catch it when it's happening.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So walk us through the next song, the last song today, actually.
Yeah, it's actually about the first time that I went to Montreal it was 2016. It was New Year's. It was New Year's the year that I was 18 because being from Ontario, I couldn't go out on New Year's Eve because you have to be 19.
So that's
but in
what you're gonna
Quebec,
do.
yeah, me and my friend were like, okay, let's like go to Montreal. And I was like very heartbroken at the time, going through my first like really big heartbreak. And I was like, I can't be in town for New Year's. I need to like party somewhere else. And so we went to Montreal together. And we went out dancing that night and I met this girl named Angela and I just like it was literally I like saw her from across the room and was like, I'm in love kind of thing.
Wow.
And I was very, very, intoxicated at the point. And I told my friend, I was like, you need to go ask that girl to come dance with me. And so, yeah, I ended up just hanging out with her all night and it was this kind of like magical thing. And I was leaving a couple days later and we were texting and I went and got coffee with her one morning, like before I left and then like walked home and cried as I like walked back to go catch my flight. And I think I wrote the song kind of like in my head on the flight home. And it was just kind of like, I wanted to capture the idea of this, sort of magical experience that you aren't going to pursue further because it's just not realistic and you aren't going to like destroy yourself, like wanting something from afar, but you can see it as this beautiful like snow globe experience and it's just there and you have that forever and it's this beautiful thing that you can carry with you.
Or
And
a
so-
sign of greater things to come, you
Yeah,
know, that
yeah.
kind of thing is out there. I'm a big believer that the vacation romance is very real in the sense that you're the best version of yourself.
Yeah,
You know, like
totally.
you're very free and open
You can
to
be
meeting new
anything.
people. You can be anything.
Mhm.
And the key is channeling that at home. But
Yeah.
it sounds like Angela was a jumping off point for many good things.
Totally. Yeah. I owe
Where
it all
is
to her.
Angela these days?
I have sent her the song a few times, like as it kind of got more popular, and she thought it was funny that it like blew up. She likes the song, and now that I'm living in Montreal, I might try to get together with her sometime.
I'm a big fan of this, and I
Yeah.
hope it happens. Please keep me updated.
I'm scared of the day where I like take a picture with her and post it on Instagram, and everyone's gonna freak out.
It would be amazing. I will follow along so
Yeah.
closely. Hey, Angela, just 5 million plus streams on your
Yeah.
song. No big deal.
You started my career. I owe it all to
Exactly.
you.
I think you
Yeah.
guys should have a second coffee.
Yeah,
let me know.
I will.
All right. Well, let's hear Angela. Thank you so much for coming in today. Honestly,
Thank
you're
you.
such a pleasure to talk to you. You've been so generous with your answers, and I am a fan. So I've loved hearing the stories behind everything.
Oh, thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you. Let's get into it.
Daylight, I dream of you softly. I wrote you a letter that will never reach you. In Montreal, the days are much colder there. Now you grow older there without me. On the lookout, baby, won't you look out? A car full of raccoons. I think that I'm crazy. And downtown, the bar lights illuminate, lost in a cityscape where I try to find you. You walk like a miracle, bathing in starlight, your voice burning holes in the frame. I danced in the parking lot, cried in the taxi home, 'cause I still remembered your name. And oh, I'm not in love anymore. But I will keep you close to me forever. Moonlight, I dream of you endlessly, drowning in reverie, waiting for morning. Dim light, I'm drunk at that bar again, holding a stranger's hand, a crowd with no faces. And there you are, beautiful, just like the first time you reach out. I'm shaken again. You're gone in a moment. You leave me alone, but I swear you were real in my hands. And oh, I'm not in love anymore. But I will keep you close to me forever. I know these words might mean nothing now. I'm stuck in this ghost town. Your softness still haunts me. And someday I'll find my way out of here. If you don't change your mind, my dear, I'll take you with me.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of The Intro with the lovely Flower Face. For more episodes of The Intro, you can hang out here or you can head to cbcmusic.ca/theintro.